American Conservative Union Chairman Al Cardenas, welcome all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
We thought this was the perfect spot, and you were the perfect people to talk about the future of the Republican Party. There was an interview with Bob Dole, former, someone I think you all know, former presidential candidate in the Telegraph on Thursday, and here's some of what he had to say about the party. We have got to be open. We cannot be a single issue party or a single philosophy party. There's a big split in our party. There's this undercurrent of rigid conservatism where you don't dare not toe the line. I want you to take that comment by Bob Dole and combine it with Senator Scott Brown of Massachusetts, who wrote a letter to Reince Priebus and said, you need to open up the party more with some language in the abortion plank of the party platform that leaves room for people with different views. What would be so wrong with that?
Well, I think we do need to realize that people come from different states, and that requires maybe a different type of representation. Mothers and daughters can disagree on abortion. We shouldn't put a party around an issue that is so personal and also religious-based. I think we need to say, here are our principles, and we welcome you as a Republican. We can disagree on any number of issues, but if you want to be a Republican, we welcome you, and I think we do. I really think we do, and I think a lot of people think the party platform is something that is rigid. It's not really. There's a normalcy about the party and the candidates.
Well, Candy, I think the best way we appeal to people across the spectrum is by talking about the issues they care about. When I talk to voters in my state, which is a swing state, a state where I won by a bigger margin just a few months ago than I did 2 years prior, it was not just Republicans and conservatives, it was independents and even some discerning Democrats that voted for me. And what they care about is the economic and fiscal crisis our states face and our country faces. It's why we won. It's why Paul Ryan was elected many years ago in a congressional district at a time that was almost evenly divided and yet wins by more than 60%. Voters want to know, what are you going to do to take on the economic and fiscal issues facing our country? And that's what Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan bring to the table.
And Al, I want to get to you, but I want to first show some figures to our audience. And this was under choice for president among Hispanic registered voters. Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, 28%. Barack Obama and Joe Biden, 63%. Can the Republican Party survive in a nation that is quickly becoming minority majority if they do not do something to kind of soften what may be a perception, but at least soften the edges of what's seen as a very rigid party?
Well, I think the problem is getting to know us better, Candy. There are two candidates who did well, Ronald Reagan and George Bush. They had a common denominator. One was from Texas, the other was from California. Hispanics in those states knew them well. Hispanics at large in the country got to know them better. Mitt still at the early stages of getting to be known by our community. I am a firm believer that knowing the Mitt Romney I know, great family guy, great human being, one of the most generous men I've met, that the community, once they know his personal qualities, will warm up to Mitt. Now, you know, can we get this done in 75 days? I think enough to win this election, and then it's a long-term project to do a lot better institutionally as a party.
You know, I think I hear this. I remember when Jim Gilmore was head of the Republican Party, governor of Virginia, and I remember sitting down and talking to him, and he said, we have to get into these neighborhoods. We have to talk to these people at the ground level. We can't do it in the last 3 months of an election, and yet here we are, many, many years since he's been chairman of the Republican Party, and you're still talking about the same thing. Is there something wrong with the way this party presents that causes these kinds of numbers?
Well, look at it on the positive side. We did so much better amongst Hispanics than the Democrats did in 2010. We elected 3 Hispanic governors in New Mexico and Nevada and Puerto Rico, people that were appealing not only to the Hispanic world, but to mainstream America and those states as well. So we elected Marco Rubio. Texas just selected in its primary Ted Cruz. I think when it comes to statewide elections, we're doing a lot better with Hispanics, and it's only a matter of time before Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan get to be liked as well. I'm an optimist. I think 2010 showed that you can stick with your convictions as a true Republican and do well with the electorate if you're a Hispanic.
Let me pick up on another demographic, female. When you look at gender preferences in our latest poll, the CNN ORC poll, Obama, Biden, 54, Romney, Ryan 42. That's actually about normal for Republicans. They never poll as well among women, but women vote in bigger numbers and they are a larger portion of the vote than men. What is the Republican Party problem with women?
Oh, we don't have a problem with women. I think that
you've got a big gap.
Well, I think that women are looking at the issues they care about, which are jobs and economic prosperity. And I believe when we show the differences between what President Obama has done and the overwhelming debt that he has put forward, the Obamacare, which is going to essentially break down our healthcare system, I think women, when we focus on this election, which people haven't done yet, I think the women are going to say, we need a change and we need a better economy, and it's not going to be 4 more years of what we've seen in President Obama.
But you know, Governor, again, this is not a new phenomenon that Republicans tend to do better among men, and that's a pretty big gap and one you can't ignore. It's very hard to win elections without the women's vote. So there is a long-standing problem here of some sort. Would you agree?
Well, but I also think it's perception. I think the senator is right. I think nationally in the media, there's kind of this idea that there's silos, that women only care about these issues, that Hispanics only care about these issues. What I find talking to voters is they care, there's a cross-section. There's a lot of Hispanic voters I know who are small business leaders who care about the economy. There's a lot of women I know, particularly moms I meet at factories and farms and small businesses, who care about their kids and their kids' financial
Then maybe
futures.
they don't like your economic message, but some things...
Well, no, I think a lot of times, particularly when you see these polls, it's a perception that certain blocks of voters only care about certain issues. I think we need to stop siloing voters and start saying, what are the issues you care about in your home? Not next door, what in your home, and address those issues. And I think, you talked about Ronald Reagan before, President Reagan, particularly 3 decades ago, brought our party and our country together talking about economic and fiscal sustainability. That's what Mitt Romney's got to do. It's certainly an area of great concern to most Americans. When you think of 12 million Americans out of work, you think of 42 consecutive months of unemployment at or above 8%. Whether you're a female voter, whether you're a Hispanic voter, or any other bloc out there, those are numbers that should concern you.
You know, Al, if you'll jump in on this, I think what I'm trying to get to is I agree that women are not one-issue voters largely. So if women are interested in the economy, which they are, they're obviously also interested in family life and childcare and all those things. There is something about the Republican Party that makes them feel as though that's not where they find a comfortable home. They find it inside the Democratic Party. Why do you think that is?
Well, let me give some credit to the Democrats for all the wrong reasons. We run campaigns integrating Americans. If you see our posters, if you see our brochures, they're destined to reach Americans at large. What's good for one American is good for all. They run segregated campaigns. You go to an Obama headquarters, it's women for Obama, blacks for Obama, Hispanics for Obama, you know, lesbians and gays for Obama. It's all about segregating communities and dividing them. We believe that it's effective, but we don't believe that's the way to go. And frankly, I'd rather, you know, go upstream, swim upstream, make it a little harder, but do it the right way. I think dividing Americans for the sake of political gain is a horrible way to go, and they're doing it effectively, but who wants that?
Between now and November, what does the governor need to do to attract enough Latinos to at least give him a victory and enough of the female vote give him a victory? What does he have to emphasize?
I think relating to the middle class, just as you said earlier in the polls, this is a family who has raised 5 boys. Now, they relate to what moms are facing all over this country. That's a hard job. And I think relating to the people, and I think they're going to show that. Now that people are focused, I think Ann and Mitt Romney are exactly the kind of first family we need.
Hasn't come across yet, Governor.
No, and I think this week's going to be a good example of that. He's got to show, you know, Mitt Romney's got all the experience you need to be a president. I think when he picked Paul Ryan a couple weeks ago, he shows he's not only got the skill and experience, he's got the passion, and most importantly, the courage. I think swing voters, I know in my state, in Michigan, and Iowa, and other swing states across America, what they want is someone who's got the courage to take on the tough issues. Mitt Romney can show that again and again and again, and he's going to do it again this week.
A last word from you, Al Cardenas, and that is the Romney and Ryan Tickett got a very stiff letter from an anchor at a Latino network and said, you are not going to get the Latino vote until you change your immigrant policies. Would you agree with that?
Well, I say this, the only one who made a responsible comment about immigration this presidential race is Mitt Romney. When he said he was going to work on a bipartisan basis to accomplish immigration reform, the president says, my way or the highway. It's divisive. It's got nothing done in 4 years. Mitt's got to get that message across, and I'm comfortable he will.
American Conservative Union, Al Cardenas, Governor Scott Walker, Kay Bailey Hutchison. I probably won't be your last convention, but your last as an elected officer.
Right, it'll be different. I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And they're doing a great job here in Tampa, trying to, deal with what's being thrown at them.
They are. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. President Obama and Democrats are